everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to our Spending Freeze freebie. This is the November edition. So let's do a little bit of a check-in and a check-up to see how things are going for your spending freeze and mine. And then also we're going to have a little bit of a discussion of how many supplies I use for certain things. And then also a really great resource. And so I definitely want everybody to know about this resource. It's amazing. And it's for free. Yes. Okay. So let's check in. And so for me, my spending freeze has been going the same as it has for the 11 months straight, is that I've just been using gift cards and then also to blessings and gifts and things like that for new supplies. I did have one breakdown in the system. And it was just at a point in time where I was just in a bad mood, sad mood, whatever you want to say. And I ordered something and it was some enamel dots from Gina Marie Designs. And looking back, do I regret it? No, because I love them. So, but it wasn't something that I had planned. It's not something I wanted to do. I really did not want to just place orders arbitrarily just because I wanted something. But, you know, one throughout the year, what's the big deal? No, it really wasn't that expensive. But, you know, I just did, and I didn't care, and I wanted to, and sometimes you just have that. And then also with this hobby, and I think with any hobby in general, you're always going to be bringing in new things, because that's how you can get inspired. And that's how you can use the old things because you're pairing it with the new things. Things feel fresh and fun. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I will tell you, over the years, I have been cutting back and it has been working and it has changed my mindset, especially when new releases come out. Every couple months, every quarter, instead of me spending a couple $100s on new supplies, I really can get quite a selection of the new items for $35 to $50 using the SOS method, and that's just sampling of supplies. And so I have that playlist linked below. So I think by just simply being paying attention to how much I'm bringing in, what do I need and what I don't need, because if you are needing certain supplies, you have to shop for those supplies. And for example, right now, my red paper is not low by any means, but I noticed that if I'm going to buy paper, I should be looking at reds. And so then of course, anything I see in navy, I'm always needing things in navy. So I think it just makes you become more aware of what you have too much of. And when you do shop, you're paying more attention to what you need versus what you want. Because in my case, I would want everything because I love paper. And along with that, when you are working on a spending freeze, you start to hone in on what is your favorites and what is your style. And so then you use your money for what you love and what is your style. For me, my style is floral and wood grain and bright, happy colors. And so then, of course, what I hone in on is paper because that is my love. And so if I'm going to spend that $35 or $50 of that budget, it's mainly going to be for paper, and I'm okay with that because that is what I enjoy the most. So for some people that will be tools, some people that's going to be dyes, some people it's going to be stamps, sometimes it's going to be mixed media. So everybody's different. So find what you really, really, really enjoy, and then when you start cutting back on that money, when you do use your money, make sure it goes for the items that you love, because then you'll feel like it's a really big treat. Okay, so with that, please check in below how your spending freeze is going. If you have fell off the wagon, no worries. Tomorrow is a new month. Tomorrow is a new day. This is not something to take serious. No, if your bills are paid and your kids are being fed, it all works out in the wash. So let's talk about some of these supplies. And for 11 months, because I've been keeping track of that, how much I have used, some things as far as adhesives and ATG and blades, I was surprised. Some things I thought I would use a lot more, because basically we're almost talking a year, right? We're talking the end of November. So we're basically talking, what? How many weeks? 52 minus 4, yeah, 48 weeks. 48 weeks, so almost a year. And so I was surprised. So let's talk about Fiskars blades. This was the biggest surprise for me, I would think. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the ATG. I'm not sure. I was surprised. I would have thought for sure that by 11, you know, this is November, 11 months, I would have thought I have been through 11 blades because it seems like I'm changing a blade all the time. But I absolutely did track every time I changed a Fiskars blade. Now, I do use the titanium. I do use those. They're just a couple of dollars more expensive. And so, this is 11 months, I have only went through 4 blades. Now that surprises me. So basically every quarter I've had to change a blade. Instead of in my brain, I was thinking every month I changed my blade. No, it's about every 3 months. And I feel I don't scrapbook. I don't scrapbook like some people as far as, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages, but then I do more than 10 pages a month. So, I think I fall in the middle. I think I'm an active scrapbooker. I'll put it that way. So, yes, I've only went through 4 blades. So, actually, let me look here on my sheet here. Am I on my 4th blade or am I on my 5th blade? I am on my 4th blade. So yes, so basically every quarter I went through a blade. I thought it was every month. I was surprised about that. And then of course a little tip is when you do have old blades, put an X on them or mark them and use the old blades when you're cutting through coarse treatment, as in burlap and cork, really heavy glitter paper, things like that. So use the old blades, not your good blades. So maybe that was just a little tip. But I do use the titanium Fiskars blade in my Fiskars trimmer. So I was surprised about that. 4 blades in 11 months, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so now let's talk about this Tombow Mono Liquid Aqua Glue. I love it. It has a tremendously long name. But I love it, and it's an inexpensive product. And so I looked here, and so Tombow, this is my number 5 bottle in 11 months. Now, the reason I would say I use so much of this is because I do use this when I am organizing die cuts and chipboard. Well, no, really, when I'm organizing my stickers. Yeah, and I'll have the video listed below, as that I use these to make my backer sheets for my wax paper. So, and that does take some glue. So I would say that is the reason why. And then also I make DIY faux chipboard and embellishments and things like that. I'll have that video listed below. So that's the only why. That's only because I use this for making embellishments and making those sticker sheets, things like that. So I was surprised. Well, no, I think that's probably about average what I was thinking. I was thinking about 6. I would have thought I had went through 12 of these, but only 4. I would have thought I went through 6 of these, but I'm on my number 5, so that's pretty good. Now this right here, another surprise. Isn't that amazing when you actually track how much you're using, and then of course, you have an idea of how much you're scrapbooking. It's amazing. So for my quick dry, or this is the old bottle, this is the new bottle, it's the same thing, supposedly the same formula. That is what Scotch has told me. And this is 2 of my 3 bottles. So basically, now this here is a 4 ounce and this is a 2 ounce. This still has some in it. And so does this. So one I took for traveling and one I use here. So basically 3 bottles. Yeah, basically 3 bottles for the whole year. And I use this all the time. Yes, this is my favorite adhesive. So that was a surprise. I would have thought it'd been 8 or 10. Isn't that something? So now let's talk about the ATG refills. Because again, this was another surprise for me. Big surprise for me. I'm also going to show you my Sizzix plates too. So for my refills, I would have guessed that I would have, okay, this is 11 months, so I would have said I would probably be close to 24, 2 dozen of ATG refills. And so right now in my big red, this is number 17. So I have used 16 complete rolls. This is my number 17. So, I guess that's not too far off the average, but basically less than 2 refills a month. And I am not cheap on this as far as I just use it a little bit. If I need it, I need it. I use it. I don't use it sparingly. I just use it. And so I was surprised. So only 16 ATG refills. I'm on my 17th. Interesting. So I guess that's about, yeah, I would have thought it would have been over a 2 dozen. I thought it'd been over 24, 25. So it's not too far off the mark. So then, of course, I did change my Sizzix plate. And when I change my plates, I only change one at a time because the one that is used, that goes for my underplate. My new plate is my overplate. So this was my old one. And so for 11 months, this is what a new Sizzix plate looks like for me. And you can tell that I've messed up a couple times. There are some indentations on there, but that's not too bad for, and I would say I use this on the low average side of a Sizzix. Sometimes when I use my Sizzix, I'm using it for weeks and weeks at a time, and then there may be weeks I don't even touch it. So I would say I'm on the low to average, but that is what one Sizzix plate. So this is the only one I've changed for the whole 11 months, and like I said, I cycle mine out. So instead of replacing 2 plates at a time, I only replace 1 at a time, and the one that's so like in the beginning of 2020, if I was to change these, this would go for my bottom plate. I would throw this one away, and my new plate would be my top plate. And so then that's just how I cycle through. Save a little bit of money. You don't need to change both of them at one time. It's kind of like a pair of shoes. You get a new pair of shoes in, you keep that for good. You take the old pair for every day. The old pair goes for outside. You know how that works. Okay, so now let's round up this Spending Freeze freebie with talking about a resource that is absolutely free. And I think maybe some people don't know this, and so I was a little surprised myself, even though I have used this resource. All right, so the resource I want to share with you today is Get It Scrapped at DebbieHodge.com. And don't think that you have to be a member. I want to share something with you. Because for years, I was a member of Get It Scrapped, and that is how you got these resources. And so you can see I have a lot of my materials printed out. But I recently spoke with Debbie, because when I was over there looking around, I noticed that there are so much information on the website. And so I contacted Debbie and I said, Debbie, is all of this information free, or am I just seeing it because I was a member at one time? And she said, no, this is all free. And I definitely want to share this, because if you were a member at Get It Scrapped, you will know that the amount of information and resources and blog posts and articles and inspiration that Debbie shared with her members was staggering. It was out of this world how much. I could not even cover the surface of how much was on there. So I want you to go to this website, and I want you to go to the selection that says Article Directory. And I will have that individual link below. And so you can see that there are so many different groupings here. But within those groupings, you hit this plus sign on the right, and there is so much more. Again, all free. So, of course, if you want tips on how to use the directory, you would select that. But let's look at this tab that says Get Started Scrapbooking. You hit that plus sign, and look how much information is there. So let me go back. Look how much information. Just getting started on scrapbooking. Look at all those articles, and believe me, this is meaty stuff. It is, and it's also, if you like to learn, this is where you need to go. If you want to learn about composition, design, color, this is where you go. So then let's go to scrapbooking organization. We all love that. Look how many articles. Yes, there's even different tours, even also organizing photos, that is included. And so then let's go to the next one. It is layout design. I'm hitting that plus sign, and look, it's going to talk about different design principles and elements and composition. Look at all that. Look at all that. Look at all that. And I mean, it just keeps on going. You really must. If you want to learn different principles, and if you're someone who likes to read and see, this is where you need to go. And Debbie assured me this is all free. You don't have to have, I was a previous member, so I thought maybe this is why I was still seeing these articles, because I was a member at one time, and she said, no, it's free. I cannot believe she is giving all these resources for free. Look at this. I mean, and look how that keeps on going, keep on going. You will be there for months looking at what is available there in that category. Let me get to the top there of layout design. I mean, now that is free. You would pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to learn all of those principles if you were to buy a class. And then let's go to the next one, page elements. So you hit that plus sign. Look at all that. There's all of different page elements, and it just goes on and on and on. Okay, so let's go to the next tab, because there's one I really want you to see. Other than the layout design, you really need to spend some time in there. There's ideas and inspiration, but then there's also page sketches and templates. So let's click on that, and I want you to see how many sketches that Debbie has on here at Get It Scrapped for free. Look at that. Look at that. It just doesn't end. And so, of course, there is a couple other options. And what would that be? Scrapbooking tools and skills, page themes and subjects and projects, and popular series. So let's click on popular series, and look how many there is. Oh, the Keep 5-Year Journal. Oh, yes, yes. You definitely need to check that out. You definitely need to check that out, because for each month, and I'm not going to go in too much to it because I want you to check this out, there is different prompts for the different months you really need to check out. That was an awesome series that Debbie did. So definitely check that out. And again, for free. So thank you, Debbie, for offering these. Again, some of this was part of our membership, and so you only got to access it through our membership, but this is all free on her website at Get a Scrap. The link will be below. I am just tickled, and I think some people have overlooked this recently because Get a Scrap did close its doors. It is no longer in service, but she still has this available, and I think some of this was absolutely part of the membership. I'm amazed. So thank you, Debbie. That is a great resource for our scrapbooking community. Again, the links will be below, and you can see that I have a lot of my materials. There was one class that Debbie had called Scrapbook Coach. Loved it. And you can see I printed all my materials out. And so when I purchase a class, that is what I do. I do print everything out. I do not rely on my desktop or my iPad or my phone, because I just, too many things happen. And plus, in my space, when I sit down to scrap, I don't like a lot of technology around. I like having things in my hand. Probably is why I love paper so much. And then along with that, if you are on a spending freeze, but someone wants to know what you want for Christmas, it's okay to ask for things, and it's okay for you to buy it and give it to your spouse or your hubby or your loved one and say, here, this is what you can get me. And that's how I used to do my classes for many years. There would be classes I would want, and I would say, and hubby would say, what do you want? And I say, well, I want this class, or I would like this class, or I would like that class, or like my Scrap Happy membership is one of my Christmas gifts every year. And so he's like, okay, well, get it and then tell me what I need to do. So a lot of my classes that I would get for gifts, and Christmas is right around the corner, is that I would go ahead and purchase it. I would do it myself, and then I would print out that entire class material. I would put it in a box, and I would give it to him, and I'd say, here, this is one of my Christmas gifts, wrap it. And so then on Christmas morning, when I unwrapped that gift, my class was ready for me. So while everybody was looking at their toys and their gifts and everything, I could sit there and I could look at this class along, right under the tree with everybody else. So that's what I did for many years when it came to classes. I would buy them myself, and then because most other people that's not a scrapbooker, they don't know where to go. They don't know how to do this. So make it easy for them. If you want a class, by means, buy that class and print it out and put it under the tree, and just help out that non-scrapbooker. I've done that for many years, absolutely. Because I would tell you, I'm 50 years old and I still like something scrappy underneath a Christmas tree. Absolutely. So that is going to wrap up our Spending Freeze freebie for November, and I want to definitely encourage you to please list below. If you have been tracking your supplies, please tell us how many ATG refills you've been using, how many blades have you went through, how many Sizzix blades have you went through, or plates, or how many silhouette blades, cameo blades, have you had to replace things? Let us know if you've been tracking. I would love to know that. And if you have been tracking how many layouts you've done this year, I have never tracked that. That really isn't important to me. Whether I do 1 or 100, it doesn't matter to me. But I do like to see how people track their layouts and how many they get done. So please toot your own horn. I want to hear that. Absolutely. So that's all I have for today. The links for everything I talked about will be listed below. Hit that show more button. So come back to RTS, because you never know.